So yeah, continuing on with my walkthrough of the car, we've got a Series 5 turbo gearbox, which is pretty much a standard upgrade on first gens. My bracket modified to suit the first gen, and as you can see, what I've done is just sort of cut and made it flat because they're quite rounded with the Series 5 mount, just to take the standard Series 3 mount. So not a lot of modification needed, but when you're sort of putting it in the car, you're sort of just like, oh, why doesn't it just fit? But yeah, little bits of changes, and yeah, the rubber mount at the bottom and holds the gearbox up as well, so that's fine. There's no vibration there or anything silly. Got my dump pipe, which is running a horrible exhaust to try and keep the thing quiet so I can get it through agency. Yeah, get it through our compliance. So that won't be staying in there very long. But I need it for the moment. 3-inch dump pipe. Standard, I think it's an RX Series 5 starter motor. And this is a Willwood proportioning valve. It's not a brake adjuster, it's a proportioning valve, so it can reduce the rear brakes down to 40% of their clamping capacity, so it should give us a little bit of playroom in case the rears overstop the fronts. I figured it was $100, I might as well put it in the car while we're doing it. Fuel filter, just get a normal Falcon barrel one, which cost about $7. It's got the nice -6 fittings on each end, which are just like awesome little things like that, which just make your day. And I can get to that very easily to change it. So just seemed to fit in a really good spot. Guys in the States, I don't know how you'd make that work, given that you've got a steering arm and stuff there. But yeah. So FC subframe conversion. And everyone always wants to know how you mount them. So basically what we did was, I did get this off another guy that had it in the car already, but what he did was he put a nice plate there. And as you can see, we're using the standard holes for where the idler and the steering box would have been, and they just sit really, really well. Yeah, I've got photos on my blog there, up to date with like what we actually was done there. And Mazda speed strut bar, whatever it is underneath. Series 4 arms with the interchangeable ball joint, which is very important for longevity. I think the Series 5 ones, they're all in one piece, so it makes it very hard to change them. This is my struts. Sorry, my sway bar mounts. Basically, it just goes through, and it's just like an L bracket. Some of the arms are actually, it's included on there, but mine wasn't, so I had to make it. And yeah, so this is a 12A turbo, so not a 13B. I wanted something a little bit different and to see how fast we could get out of this, but I had to make the mounts for the engine mounts. They weren't very pretty. I'm not going to zoom in on them too much, but you get the idea. Basically, I cut up my 12A turbo mount on the front of the engine and use that for some mounts. Yeah, didn't really turn out how I wanted to, but it holds the engine up, which is the most important part. Turbo manifold, you've seen 100 of them. It's basically wrapped and powder coated, well not powder coated, heat ceramic coated. Get this done, don't faff around. You don't need to put this lagging on it as well, but I had 3 bags of it, so I was like, well, I might as well use it. So that is ceramic coated, which makes a massive difference. You can almost touch the bloody manifold when it's up and running. And yeah, it's just, just do it. It's like cheaper than you think, and massive difference. So no gains, but just keeping that heat down. So Bosch O2 sensor, which plugs into the link. Oh, it's really hard to get good angles there, but you get the idea of it. Dash 10 lines for my oil cooler, of course. And the leads we made up. I'll have to show you some on the other side of the engine there. Yeah, so we'll go around a little bit to the Mitsubishi 330mm front brakes. These are definitely over the top. It's sort of just the way they came to me. I was sort of planning just to run standard Series 6, Series 5 brakes. Obviously they're Series 6 calipers. I'm running a dog bone, wishbone. And that's on the RX7 Club forum. Very good quality. Basically it just steps out the brakes out another inch, and then you can run the bigger disc. So it's basically not about clamping force, it's about obviously having a bigger wheel and being able to stop the car and then not having any brake fade at all. So yeah, I looked this up about 10 times, so hopefully that helps somebody. There wasn't really any way of anyone explaining that, so I sort of just found some pictures. But basically what you want to do is you want to put the pin in first to hold the brake, and then work your way through to do this part, and then seal it off with this part. So they're EBC reds. And just a note as well, if you get the kit for these pin kits, they're a different length. They're not all the same. So some of them are 110mm, some of them are 107mm, some of them are 100mm or 90mm. Just measure it. Don't do what I did and order it like 3 times and then go, oh man, I've got spare kits now. But anyway, I've got spare springs in case I lose them. Yeah, so ABC Ron coilovers again in the front. Pretty much just fantastic. Very happy with them so far. And braided lines, of course. Little speed sensor. I was looking for the ABS sensor for the FC, but I couldn't find it. So I sort of just came up with something myself. It's a wheel speed sensor out of a BMW, I think. It was just something that worked in the spot and the space, and yeah, basically it counts, or it polls the wheel studs in the back. So what we did is we ground them down so they were flat, because the polling was actually picking up the dish. So little things like that is quite sort of quite sensitive. And I think it's probably sitting about 2 or 3 mil away, so you don't need to get massively close. Yeah, and that's for the traction control and all the other stuff that we've been sort of working on for this build. So moving ahead, we've got our steering rack. So obviously that's included in the FC subframe setup. I'm running a electronic power steering pump, which is up here. Try not to go too fast. Yeah, so this is a Astra, TS Astra power steering pump. So we modified the mount to suit the bracket at the front. This holds the bumper up. And yeah, so it sits in there really nice. It's got rubber mounts so that it doesn't do any vibration. And as for noise, you cannot hear it over the rotary. So yeah, don't stress, it'll be really good. And yeah, it works really well. It's very fast and it's made the steering nice and light. Very happy with it. Intercooler, you've seen millions of them. This is a oil cooler, and I got the kit as part with the oil cooler and the radiator on eBay for $200. Considering that they'll probably put things through it, like that was a screwdriver. Probably put things through it. It'll be easy to replace if you have a damage, and I've got 2 spares in the shed now, so when they come up nice and cheap, just grab a couple. Because yeah, once you have a radiator that starts leaking or shuts itself, you just replace it. It's just trying to fix it and weld it up. White line sway bar. It's currently set on the weakest setting. I'm sort of going to have to play with that and see how it goes with the rear end. Don't look at that. That was a nightmare. Originally with the 12A, it was sitting too far away and too close for the oil cooler, so we had to be, I think, out of the box a little bit, and it sort of worked out in my favour. It went around the sway bar. Yeah, this is the modification to the FC subframe conversion that you need to do. So it's hard to see, but what you need to do is you need to add a section to the front of it, and what that does is it positions the wheel in the centre. So otherwise it would be sitting further forward and you'd hit your guard. So yeah, it's something you need to do when you do it. Put it in your car. all the lines and everything up there, it's probably easy to get those from the top. That's about it really. So no other changes other than factory. Oh, carbon canister. Yeah, and my horn.